Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We just got some good news for Battlefield 6, but at the same time, not so good news for Battlefield 6. Very much so opposites here as far as the latest details, the latest news that has surfaced regarding the game. We do have a pretty significant dev response though, but then also some really concerning news for the devs here at Battlefield 6. This was just reported on the other day from Charlie Intel to start things off here, saying that EA has laid off a number of employees at Battlefield Studios as a part of a realignment. Now keep in mind, EA was also just sold not too long ago for, I think it was like 55 billion or something. Don't quote me on that, but it was a massive chunk of change for sure. And there was a lot of concern when that happened. Okay, is there going to be restructuring? What's going to happen here? Are they going to turn Battlefield 6 into some microtransaction slop machine or something like that? You know, what's going to go on there? Initially, we didn't really see too much of any kind of ripple effect, no pun intended, but now we are seeing this happen, which is just kind of crazy to think about. EA has laid off employees across all the studios working on Battlefield 6, even though this game was the best-selling Battlefield game ever. It was the best-selling FPS game of 2025. It beat out its biggest competition in Call of Duty in sales. Like, this, all things considered, at least at launch, was a gigantic success for Battlefield and for EA. And yet, the state of the gaming industry right now, it seems like, especially AAA studios, is even when you have a major success in your franchise, even when you have the best-selling game of a certain genre in a year, it's still followed up by huge layoffs across the entire game's support system with all the different studios working on it. And unfortunately, like I said, it seems like that's just kind of the state of the industry, where this is a certain level of corporate greed where they are just, you know, pinching every single possible penny at every corner whenever they can, even after huge success stories like the launch of Battlefield 6. Now, obviously, since then, it's had its struggles, it's had its problems post-launch, but still, really unfortunate news here that is a much bigger reflection of a very big problem in gaming right now in general, that there's just zero stability, it seems like, in dev jobs, which really does suck. But even though there have been some significant layoffs, and that's certainly concerning for what it is, we also got this interview from IGN about a day after it was reported that all those layoffs happened. In this interview, the Battlefield 6 devs say that anything can change, and they plan to listen to community feedback for a very long time. Now, obviously, there's a lot of concern, and we'll be talking about the allocation of resources within the Battlefield studios themselves in an upcoming video, kind of previewing what's next for Battlefield at some point here in the future, so stay tuned for that video. But hearing that the devs are saying they are in it for the long haul with Battlefield 6, I think is very reassuring that it's not going to be, okay, this game launched, it made a ton of money, and then it fell off really hard with some of the post-launch seasons, and we're out of here, right? Hopefully this is a long-term commitment, and it seems like that's what the devs are responding to and saying here. So in this article, in this interview, Battlefield Studios says it plans to listen to and work with the Battlefield 6 community for a very long time as it continues post-launch support with the Nightfall update coming up, obviously, while dealing with an unsatisfied player base. This Ripple Effect studio design director, Justin Weeby, I'm probably mispronouncing that, I'm so sorry. They talked with him to learn more about how the team is adapting to feedback in response to mixed opinions from fans. And there's one main thing that they want us to know as players: we are listening and we're reacting, and it's going to continue that way for a very long time. So this is a nice thing to hear for sure. Now, obviously, it is just them saying it. They actually have to do it in game. We've got to see how they're listening to feedback and actually making adjustments because of it, whether that be with more maps per season, whether that be with more large maps, getting back to more classic Battlefield gameplay. Reacting there is the big second part there that is going to be the most telling of all this, because I think they've been listening to a lot of feedback since launch. We see them interact with people on Twitter. A lot of the devs individually will respond with the community, but the reacting part is the big thing here, and it's going to continue that way for a very long time. That is something you want to hear, even though the game is not in a great state right now. It does seem that based off of this, they are very much so committed to seeing Battlefield 6 through for however long it's going to be the main Battlefield title. They go on to say, we're getting amazing feedback from the community, and we're constantly trying to strive to make the best game possible. So we appreciate the community's time that they take to share the details of what's working and what's not working for them, and we do take it very seriously. Reactions to Season 1 and the Season 2 delay left Battlefield 6 in a rough spot, but it didn't start that way. It was the best-selling game of 2025, of course, as we mentioned there, which obviously just makes the layoffs and the firings even crazier. As concerns and critiques have mounted, though, we asked Weeby if the Battlefield studios have felt the game needs to shift its post-launch strategy to give players' feedback more weight. Although there's no doubt the community has played an important role both after and before the launch of Battlefield 6, he says the answer is not so simple. Anything can change based on what's going on at the community, what's going on at the feedback, and what we're seeing from the game. From him, including testing done at the pre-launch labs program, the project at launch is the dev team's vision. After that, it becomes something more. So for me, once we launch the game, it's in the community's hands to give us feedback. It becomes our game now, the community's and the devs. All feedback is important, and we weigh the community feedback, but also, like I said, we look at the data of what's actually going on in telemetry. Sometimes it can be a perception problem. Sometimes it's actually like, no, both sources of info are saying this is a big problem, and therefore we need to stop the plans we're going to do and redirect and start focusing on things that we're seeing identified. If I had to guess, that's definitely something they saw with the maps, where socially everyone was like, hey, these maps are a little bit too small. This doesn't feel like Battlefield. Where's the big maps? And then in game, you probably saw a reflection of that, where the most time spent on certain maps was maybe some of the larger ones that we at least had, at launch and throughout Season 1 so far. He continued, that's the main thing to take away here. It's not like, hey, we crafted this plan and we're going to hold to it. It's like, no, anything can change based on what's going on at the community and the feedback and what we're seeing from the game. This article wraps up with saying the team's going to continue with other future updates. Obviously, Nightfall coming up here soon. That features the new Hagenthal base map, although that's not a super large map by the looks of it. New weapons and whatnot. A third phase for Season 2, Hunter and Prey's coming on April 14th. And then beyond that, it's Season 3, but we don't know if that's going to be launching right when Season 2 concludes, or if there will be another pushback, maybe to get some more content into it, some more large scale maps or whatever the case is there. Something we're going to have to keep an eye on, but certainly nice to see the devs actually respond to this and give us a full-on verbal commitment here that they are well aware of the feedback. They're going to be reacting to the feedback, and this is something that's going to continue for quite some time, despite the fact that it does seem like both in game but then also in studio, there are a lot of big hurdles that they now have to get over. So we'll see how things play out. Obviously, I'm always going to root for a game to do its best. I think that's good for everybody. It promotes competition within the genre, which should raise all ships. The rising tide raises all ships. I think that's very much so accurate when it comes to similar games all doing well here. But then also we win as players in that case too, because we get the updates we're looking for. There's more competition, so the devs have to do a better job. They have to be more reactive. It just plays out well for everyone in the end, and hopefully Battlefield 6 can kind of rebound here in the upcoming seasonal updates and future seasons we've got on the horizon. That said, that is going to wrap things up for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like. And if you're new to the channel, you want to stay informed with everything going on in the world of Battlefield, this is the place to be. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. And I'll catch you later. Peace out.